Hey, it's Alex here. So it's a little bit cloudy today, which is actually a good metaphor for this video because Spain is not all about sunshine and good times. There are a few things that can go wrong if you move to Spain to live. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of those based on my experience. I've lived in Spain for over 4 years now. I've got some experiences around all of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video. So yeah, if you're thinking of moving to Spain, or maybe you've already moved to Spain, do watch this video to the end because I think you're going to find it useful. I'm going to show you some of the things that you need to be aware of, otherwise things might go wrong. If you enjoy this video, please click the like button. It really does help me out, helps the video reach more people. And if you're not yet subscribed, do click that button below. But let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is when you first move to Spain, basically the honeymoon phase, as it were. And this can last, for 6 months, for 12 months, when you first move to Spain. And during that phase, you're obviously going through a bit of an adjustment. And what can happen is it can feel like you're on holiday or on vacation for my American friends. And that's not always a good thing, And, I was coming here for many years before I moved here on holiday. So, yeah, that was the default routine. I come here for a couple of weeks and I was on holiday. But, of course, when you're on holiday, that means, you're eating out a lot, you're drinking a lot, you're staying up late. And all those things, obviously, in terms of everyday life, they're not sustainable. You can't keep doing that if you're going to live here. So you need to be aware of that, and you need to make sure that you do adjust your life from being being in holiday mode through to actually living and operating a normal life here. Okay, so let's talk about booze. Let's talk about alcohol, because I've seen this firsthand, that alcohol can be a problem when you move to Spain. It's not because, Spain has a drinking culture or anything like that. In fact, I'd say their relationship with alcohol is better than, for example, the relationship we have with alcohol in the UK. But there is a lot of drink about. It's cheaper for a start. A lot of socializing revolves around going to a bar, and the sun, although it's not out today, it's out most days, can make it seem okay to drink more during the day, for example, start earlier, that kind of thing. And it just slowly creeps in, and you suddenly find that you're drinking more than maybe you used to. And I've seen, sadly, a number of friends and people that I know end up in a bit of a bad situation with alcohol here. In fact, a number of them have even passed away because of it. It's particularly dangerous if you come to Spain to retire, because in my experience, that's what I've seen. People that come here to retire, they end up, with a lot of time. The alcohol's cheap, the sun's out, they go out and they end up, drinking early and drinking every single day. And yeah, we all know alcohol's not a good thing. It's not good for you. And if you start doing it every day, and if you start early and you end up drinking quite a lot, it can quickly end up as a problem. So you do need to be strict with yourself when it comes to drinking. Try and limit it to only 1 or 2 days a week. Try not to start too early. And yeah, it's hard, especially, I'm English. So when I lived in England, when the sun came out, that was a good opportunity to sit in the garden, have a beer. But of course, in the UK, the sun doesn't come out very often, so it's not a problem. Here, the sun comes out a lot, so you still get that feeling, the sun's out, and you're walking around, especially here in Estepona, you walk around and you see people on holiday, they're enjoying a drink, but that's fine because they're on holiday, and you see a nice cold beer, the sun's out, and it is very, very tempting. So yeah, you just need to be aware that alcohol can slowly creep into your life and start to become, a little bit of a problem. Let's talk about relationships, because when you move to Spain, or indeed when you move to any new place, it can have an effect on your relationships. And I'm talking mainly about your relationship with your significant other, maybe your wife or your husband or your long-term partner. And You know, I'm no expert or no psychologist, but in my experience, it can be for a number of different reasons. For one, obviously, your life is going to change significantly, and that can add stress and certain pressures to your life. Maybe it's because one of you wanted to move more than the other, so one of you is really happy to be here, the other one not so sure, missing home, that kind of thing. So that can be a bit of a tension area. Maybe it's because one of you is kind of adapting to life, the culture here, more quickly than the other. One of you is learning the language, the other one is struggling, and that can cause some stress in your relationship as well. It could be because, you had a career wherever you lived before and you've left that and you're coming here, you're trying to find your way, and that can then add, financial pressure or just kind of a loss of identity when it comes to who you are. And that can lead to, depression, and that will, cause problems in your relationship. So my advice would be, you need to be aware of that. And if you see that there are some cracks forming in your relationship, you need to address them. You need to deal with them kind of head on. Otherwise, all the changes and all the pressure, it's going to have a negative effect on your relationship. So be aware of that. If you've already got cracks in your relationship, moving to another country is probably not going to fix them. It's probably going to amplify them. Following on from relationships, let's talk about loneliness, because you're in a nice sunny town and everything seems good. But if, for example, you're a remote worker, or maybe your partner's going out to work and you're not, it can feel a little bit lonely. And especially if you just first come here and you don't know that many people, not being able to speak the language can make you feel a little bit isolated. And then that can then loop back to the first thing I mentioned, which is alcohol. You feel that you want to go out and meet people and socialize, you end up going to bars and you end up drinking. So loneliness is a real thing here. And maybe you're retiring on your own and you're out here alone. You can feel lonely, even though where I live in Estepona, I've got to say there is a great community, and I do have lots of friends, but that's not the case for everyone. So it's something to be aware of, and to overcome it, I'd say, the bars are not always the best solution. Maybe join a language class, maybe go to an intercambio, maybe find other groups and organizations of expats or of, people from wherever you're from. Seek them out, go onto social media, and that could be a great way to kind of address loneliness. Okay, let's talk about money. Let's talk about finances. So a lot of people think, move to Spain, everything's going to be cheaper. I'm going to be richer because, food and drink and going out and all that kind of stuff is a bit cheaper. But of course, there are other costs that a lot of people don't always realize. For example, you might need to get private healthcare. I know I do, because that's, what you need to do if you're British and you want a visa. You have to have private healthcare. Maybe you need to pay for some school fees. Maybe you don't want to send your kids to the local Spanish school, you want to send them to an international school. There's going to be school fees. There's also, speaking of visas, all that to deal with, and that can be tricky. And there's going to be costs involved. Maybe you want to hire an advisor. All that stuff does cost money. Maybe you're not able to work like you used to. Maybe you've got to switch job, or figure out some other kind of source of income. That's going to have an effect on how much money you have. So in general, there are a lot of things here that are cheaper. But for example, property, especially here in Estepona, is expensive. Rent's expensive. To buy somewhere, you're going to need quite a lot of money. So don't think that moving to Spain is going to, make you super rich because you don't have to spend much. It could be the opposite, and you could end up finding the finances a bit of a struggle. Let's talk about identity shift, which is definitely a real thing. Maybe where you live now, you've got lots and lots of friends, you're well established, people know who you are. Maybe you're professionally respected. And of course, when you move to a new country, all that's going to change. You don't know so many people, you don't speak the language. Maybe your career's changed as well, or you're working remotely. And yeah, everything's going to be different. And that is going to have an effect on you, and it's going to change who you are. It's just one of those things that's going to happen. As everything changes around you, that's going to have an impact on you. Now, of course, this could be for the best, or the better, I should say. And it could be a good thing, yeah. Maybe you're going to change into a better person. Obviously, on the flip side, it might have an effect on your ego and on your well-being and on you kind of overall. So something to be aware of, that you are going to change, and you need to, you know, recognize those changes and work with them. And if they're negative, you need to, you know, do what you can. But, you know, maybe they're positive. But it's something that is definitely a thing. I know that I changed a lot when I moved here. Before, when I lived in England, I hardly ever went out, wasn't a particularly social person. Whereas here, I go out all the time because the weather's nice and very social, know lots of people, and become a lot more outgoing, which for me, yeah, it's a positive thing. But, you know, I can see how it could go the other way, or it could be a negative thing, you know, for lots of different reasons. So yeah, be aware that who you are right now is probably not who you're going to be when you move to somewhere like Spain. So there we are. There's a few things that I wanted to share with you with regards to living in Spain, and, you know, some of the things you do need to be aware of, because, yeah, Spain is great. I love living here, and I love the lifestyle here. And to me, it's so much better than living in England. And, you know, it can be portrayed as a, you know, complete paradise with no problems, which of course is not the case. I mean, it is paradise for sure, but you need to be aware of a few things. So hopefully this has been useful. I mean, my advice is just, you know, when you get here, watch the alcohol, don't let that take over. Try and learn the language. That can be really rewarding and obviously useful for lots of reasons. Try and build a bit of a community, however you want to do that. Maybe not so much in the bars, you know, through other routes. Keep fit, of course. I mean, you should do that anywhere, but, you know, try and stay fit and healthy. And to be honest, that's quite easy here, because bare minimum, you can go out and do some nice walks around the town, along the front, along the beach. So that's good. Yeah, and just be aware that, you know, not everything's going to be perfect. There are going to be, you know, stresses and pressures and all those things. And yeah, be aware of them, and try and nip them in the bud before they become a big problem. I'd love to know what you thought about this video. Maybe you live in Spain, maybe you've dealt with some of the things I've talked about. Do leave me a comment below. Maybe you're thinking about moving to Spain. Let me know where you're thinking of moving to. You know, I'm down here in Estepona, absolutely love it, but maybe you're going to choose somewhere else. Those parrots are particularly noisy, huh? You hear them? But yeah, do leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you all. And yeah, if you did like this video, give it a click on the like button. And yeah, make sure you subscribe for more videos about Spain, about Estepona, and yeah, all that good stuff. So if you are moving here, I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you in the next one.